That's it, Howard. Bring it, baby. You're listening to Blues and Beyond with Jim Carty, and I'm here with Howard Alden at Newport 2010. How you doing, Howard?
2010, I'm doing great. It's great to be here. It's great to see so many old friends, and couldn't ask for nicer weather today either. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, you've been on the Newport All-Stars with George Wein for a number of years now. Can you recall how many?
I do remember. I think the first time I actually played with them was 1988.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just sat in as a guest. They were on tour in Europe. I was playing mostly with Ruby Braff, and he invited me to join him for a couple of concerts because Flip Phillips was also playing with him at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And Flip wanted me to play with him, and George said, "Hey, come on up and play with us. Flip wants you to play." And then after that, we kind of got to know each other, and he started calling me and asking me to play with the All-Stars all the time.
Well, that's
So
not
it's
a bad
been
thing.
22 years. Wow.
And, and I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but in the last 2 or 3 years, Howard and I had a quick, George and I had an aside, and he said, "I really don't want to go on stage without Howard and Anat."
No, he's so nice. Well,
He really said that, though. I'm not like
really?
trying to make you feel good. Because,
well.
you know, I'll make you feel bad if, it's called for. But, no, he really said that.
well, that's really nice. You know, I've been working with George. Anat has only been playing with him for about 3 years, but Anat is also the kind of person who's not only a great soloist, but a great supportive person on the stage.
Yeah.
She leaves room for everybody, makes everybody feel comfortable. There's some people that are great performers and great soloists, but it's all about them. And Anat is a group ensemble player. She's one of the great ensemble spirits in jazz these days, I think.
And that's more true to the idiom, really, from which she comes, and really what you come from, too, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess so. I mean, I come from basically traditional jazz and swing
Yeah.
and stuff. And
But the swing orchestras, there was an ensemble
yeah,
cast, always a bigger band, and then the little big bands eventually. And
definitely. And,
You know?
and the spirit of Brazilian music, particularly the type that Anat likes to play, is also very ensemble orientated. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So you and I were talking offline a little bit that you had a number of projects in the works and about to come out to the public.
I do.
So let's talk about those.
I thought you never asked.
I bet.
No, I do have a new release coming out on Arbors Records. It'll be out probably within a couple of months. It's the first strictly acoustic guitar recording I've done since I did the soundtrack for Sweet and Lowdown in 1998. It's kind of a similar spirit, just acoustic guitar.
Is it the Django idiom?
Django, more or less. Django, or my version of the Django idiom.
Uh-huh.
It's the Django Emmett Ray idiom.
Okay, there you go.
And the album is actually called I Remember Django, mainly because the title tune is a very nice ballad by Barney Kessel
Nice.
that Barney wrote back in the late 60s for a record he did with Stefan Grappelli. And Barney's widow reminded me about that tune a couple of years ago. He said, "Do you ever play that tune, I Remember Django by Barney?" I said, "No, I don't." And I went back and looked it up and found it was a gorgeous tune. Started working in my repertoire. So that's one of the tunes I wanted to record, among other things. And I also had Anat Cohen as a guest on about 5 tunes,
Lovely.
playing a variety of things. And also Warren Vacher plays on, I believe, 4 tunes. And it's just acoustic guitar, a rhythm acoustic guitar, and bass, John Burr on bass. So that's it.
Sounds like a great project. And before your set, we caught Mark O'Connor, who was mentored by Grappelli.
Yeah, Mark's an
And
amazing player.
One of the few Americans, so I'm getting my fill of the gypsy jazz idiom today. It's wonderful. You mentioned another project with Scott Hamilton, who's kind of a localish guy here,
also.
not far from here in Newport.
Yeah, it was Scott and I had been talking for a couple of years. Scott's been living in Europe for a number of years, so I don't see him that often. But every time we'd get together, he'd say, "Yeah, I'd really like to record some trio things with you," because I was listening to those records you made with Ruby Braff years ago, which were just bass, guitar, and cornet, and I love that sound. I think that'd be really nice. And we kind of talked about it and never quite came together. And then just this last March, I just mentioned the concept to Matt Domber of Arbors Records. He wanted to do it right away while Scott was in town, so we recorded an album with just myself and Scott and a bass player, Frank Tate, who used to play with me in Rubit years ago. And of course on that I'm playing my regular, this guitar that I have here today, the electric guitar.
The Benedetto there. No,
Benedetto.
Now, is that a Howard Alden edition? Is that a special Benedetto, or what? Tell me about that as well. I love your instrument.
Well, I do too. This is what eventually became the Howard Alden signature model.
Mm-hmm. Now, was that made at the Gibson factory, though?
No, this was made at the Fender factory.
The Fender factory.
When Benedetto was working through Fender Musical Instruments.
You can show the folks at home even if you want.
I will. Well,
I think it's worth showing. We're on video. We're going to put it on web. So
it's show and tell.
There you go.
Anyhow, Bob had made a couple other guitars for me, and we eventually...
That's Bob Benedetto for those, yeah.
...evolved a smaller bodied,
right,
lighter weight, 7-string guitar. And this was made briefly at Fender as the Howard Alden signature model. Right after I got this guitar and started playing it in 2006, Bob left Fender and started his own company.
Mm-hmm.
He is making this guitar now, mostly a 6-string version. He calls it the Bambino. But it's,
right.
And it also a couple of subtle differences. But anyhow, Bob's been a great friend and a great...
but this is clearly a flat top, not an arch top kind of model. It's a little arched,
slightly arched. Yeah.
Slightly.
And it's not... It's laminated wood. It's not like a fine carved,
right,
fine wood guitar, but it's good for traveling and it has a great consistent sound. And I've been playing constantly for 4 years, and I love
not
the way
as temperamental with the weather and humidity, I assume.
Exactly. I can fly around the world and not have to worry that it's going to play weird when it comes out of the case.
Sell, Howard. I love
it.
That's
right. That's BenedettoGuitars.com.
But it is. He and Bob and Cindy just do a great job, with these lovely 7 strings.
And 6 strings.
And 6 strings.
And not only that, but soon to have, it's in the works, I will have a 4-string guitar, tenor guitar. You may say, why does he have that after having 7 strings?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you should ask that.
I didn't, but whatever.
Well, I started my career on the 4-string banjo, the tenor banjo, which is tuned in fifths. It's A, D, G, C. It's a completely different sound. I still play it occasionally. Anyhow, I was out a year ago. I was out in California at this wine and guitar event in California, and I asked Bob what he was doing recently. He says, "Oh, I'm doing good." I said, "I made my first tenor guitar recently." I said, "You did? Why'd you do that?" He says, "Well, I just never made one before." I said, "Well, I want a tenor guitar. I'm a tenor banjo player. I'd love to have one."
Bring it on.
And I said, it's tuned like this. And he didn't even know exactly how it was supposed to be tuned. I gave him the specifications of the fingerboard length.
Do you tune it just as if it were a tenor banjo?
Yeah, it's toned in fifths. So all the voicings are different. It's a completely different sound, but it's a different voice, and it's interesting. And also, they use that a lot in traditional Brazilian music, and I thought it'd be fun just to have something else to keep me busy with. So, not only 7 strings, but 6 strings and 4 strings.
Fantastic. I love it. Learn something new every time I talk to you there, Howard. Any other things that you want to talk about? How about your travels here this summer? Any really great ensembles you've joined on the road?
Well, they've all been great. A wide variety of things. I just got back from a whirlwind trip over to Edinburgh where I played some small group things. Actually, Scott Hamilton was over there as well. We played together one night, along with Bob Wilbur and a trumpet player named Duke Heidker, as well as a big band led by Joe Temperley playing mostly all Count Basie stuff. So that was a fun little trip. And next weekend I'll be out in California, in Northern California, at this minor wine concert with Bucky and myself and Howard Paul, 3 Benedetto guitars.
Unbelievable. Fantastic.
And I'm just finishing up actually a kind of an interesting project with a vocalist in New York named Jean Geese, who I've been playing with off and on for about 6 years, and she works so much with guitar players that she wanted to do an album with 8 different jazz guitar players featured.
Nice.
So Bucky's on a couple of tunes. I'm on most of them as a duo partner.
Yeah.
Romero Lumbambo, who's here today with Trio de Paz, is playing.
We're going to get over there.
Jack Wilkins is playing. Who else? Joe Cohn, Gene Bertoncini. So again, it's
the New York Mafia of guitar players, right?
Exactly. So
that's fantastic. What a project.
So that's kind of fun. She keeps a lot of guitar players working. She's a great singer.
And when we go to the city, we like to hunt you down at some of your house gigs. Where can folks find you if you're not on the road in the city?
Well, I do. I'm playing every Wednesday night with a singer, Gene Geese, at a place called Joe G's on 56th Street, between Broadway and 8th. It's just
Is
down
that the west side near
It's
Patsy's?
at the west side. It's right down the
It's like-
street from Patsy's.
Get my red sauce and then come see you?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I play with Jack Wilkins about once a month at a place called Bella Luna.
Yeah.
He plays there every Tuesday night with different guests. Always a nice jazz guitar hang.
Yep.
And Bella Luna is at 88th and Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually once a month I'm there with him. And then, like in October, I'll be at Dizzy's with George Wayne and the Newport All-Stars again. We play there about once a year. Yeah.
Wow, that'll be fun to go to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what to do, but I'll do that. I'll dedicate this to all you old timers who came to the early jazz festivals. You don't know what to do with your life. And so you could do this. Just a gigolo. Everywhere I go, people know the game I'm playing. Paid for every dance, selling my romance. Every night a heart betrayed. There will come a day youth will pass away. What will they say about me? When the end comes, I know I'll be a gigolo. And life goes on without me. People know the game I'm playing. Pay for every dance, selling my romance. Every night a heart betrayed. There will come a day you will pass away. What will they say about me? When the end comes, I know I'll be beautiful. And life goes on without comes, I know I'll be a gigolo, and life goes on.